Pandit is the founder of We Learn, and has been a former IB art educator, and now in her own practice helping many students. And we have with us Maria, who's the Senior International Officer of Arts University Bournemouth. And I know lots of interesting things have happened at Bournemouth for animation, for art, creative careers, and design. So we're in the best hands to sort of understand the requirements of an art portfolio. So over to both of you. They're also joined by Neha's student,
Yes,
who will
Tehana.
circle in between the conversation. She's joined by Dehana, who completed her IB art portfolio with Neha and is now pursuing marketing management. Hi, Dehana, good to see you. She'll be pursuing her undergraduate education from Lancaster. So you'll have a student voice soon in the conversation as well. And over to you, Neha and Maria, to walk us through what you've prepared for the day, for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Maria, you want to like introduce yourself first, or we'll go by the flow of what we have planned out.
Yeah, sure. I mean, thank you so much, first of all, to organize this and to welcome us to talk to everyone today. My name is Maria Cuero. I've been with the Arts University Bournemouth in the United Kingdom for over 15 years now, so quite a long time. And I'm really looking forward to our conversation today and focus on supporting on those portfolios as well. So up to you, Neha, to start. Thank you so much.
So hi, I'm Neha Pandit. I've been an educator for more than 25 years. I have been primarily in the IBDP stream, and I've been working with multiple schools. And since last 3 years, I've started, with my own studio, and we also do consultation with different schools based on visual arts department and for STEM to STEAM. So the fundamentals of the studio is, that we would like to promote maximum like openings and platform for art students, right? So Maria and I will be sharing whatever we have, the content and the knowledge with all of you. And of course then we have like an FAQ round, like where you can kind of ask us questions. We have kept it in a very like informal way. We didn't want it to be too much of the slideshow, but more on interaction. So we have one icebreaker, a quick like activity, and of course we have a voice of a student here also. So if I may, I'll just start with my presentation here. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. So basically, we would just like to know that what does portfolio mean to you, and what would you want to reflect in a portfolio? If we cannot just have some quick answers, it would be great. You want me to pick my students from here? Okay, I'm going to go for Kanchan. Kanchan, what does a portfolio mean to you?
Portfolio is basically a complete set of extracurriculars or additional learning opportunities that you build onto your file apart from your academic degrees.
Okay. Next question goes to, does somebody want to volunteer or should I pick? Survi, would you like to answer this?
Sure, Neha. Thank you for putting me on the spot. So, what do you want your portfolio to reflect? So, from a student standpoint, I would say their own piece of work, their own voice, the authenticity should be reflected in a good form and shape there.
Correct. Okay. So, we have a roundabout like understanding of what a portfolio should be. So now we are going to basically a deep dive into this. So there are different kinds of portfolios. Okay. So one is the academic portfolio, which is coming from a student's perspective. The second would be a creative portfolio where, a student or learner, no matter whether you are a student or a professional, or like an entrepreneur, but you would still would like to collate your work, right? So a creative portfolio is also of a professional who would, want to go in for an internship or for a job, or, to do any form of partnerships also. So, in that way, the person is showing the creative side of himself. And then is a professional portfolios, which is where the student has graduated and now doing a job, but has still curated a parallel portfolio of all, the kind of tasks or the assignments or the projects what he must have done at the workplace. So there are different kind of portfolios, right? But the requirement of like each portfolio would be slightly different. And if it's going to be a differentiating factor, then what all, would be the common things that we can talk about, like also. So a purpose of a portfolio for student would be to showcase their skills and work, to highlight, all the accomplishments, whichever, has been achieved in the tenure of a school year. Whereas for a professional, it would be the accomplishments which he has achieved throughout his tenure, get a particular job. For freelancers, it would be, if, they have won some awards, or, they have participated in some kind of projects. An artist, and for them, it's the personal work which they want to showcase, or say if they have showcased their work at some galleries or some shows. For students, of course, it is the strongest supporting document, what a student can submit. And a portfolio is going to set oneself apart from the others. So when we talk from the student's point of view, though though the student may be pursuing like any stream from the art section, but the portfolio will be the differentiating factor, right? Means we already know that if there are limited seats for a course, and you have multiple students scoring the same grades or points, the portfolio would be the differentiating factor for the student to get the admission. On this, Maria, would be then speaking from her point of view, in depth. Now, when we are compiling a portfolio, we just don't want to show the creative side, but would also want, the person to show whether, he has been a person with an open mind. So an open-minded, say learner. So here I'm going to use the word learner because it comes from a student, professional, freelancer also. Is that does the person show a curiosity, in thinking, or is it a problem solving thinking like attitude, or does he want to show the aptitude? The attitude and the aptitude are two different traits what one can showcase in a portfolio. Of course, like of late, what we have done is, we have categorized a generic portfolio into different verticals. One is the creative aptitude, then like an approach to do a problem solving, lateral thinking, something to do with sustainability, a global approach, and one should be a group project where, you are showing that the learner can work by oneself and also in a group. So it's a first impression of the learner, which is going to be there with, say, with the administration team or the admission team. Now, because the student does not get a chance to show, coming to talk, that is the purpose of a portfolio, to showcase all these attributes. And, for a student, it could be the learner profile. Of course, it has to be, done in an organized way where it's a visual narrative of the student. So it's very important, to have a story which is, constantly kind of the running along from the first slide to the last slide. Once again, we would be focusing slightly more today for the students' portfolio, since we are coming from a counselor's background. So who can build a portfolio? A portfolio can, of course, and like obviously has to be done for art students, but rather than the art students, STEM students can also make a portfolio. We ourselves have got students who are pursuing aviation, law, psychology, microbiology also, where they have worked on a visual portfolio. So the expectations from the STEM students is not about how creative the portfolio is, but what is the mindset or how the student is showing as a problem solver. And the portfolio comes in handy like a visual representation of their thought processes. The non-art students are somebody, who may be coming from a liberal like arts, or, completely from humanities and social sciences. Now, nowadays, most of the colleges, they do appreciate students who are also showing portfolio who are coming from the non-art background. So it acts like a conversation starter, or it's a good point for a counselor or the school coordinator to write in their letters of recommendation, because this is something which they are doing out of the box. This is something what is not expected out of them, but they have been doing it. So, this is going to be the differentiation, between the students. We'll go slightly more deeper for why non-art students should also consider, because what we think is that STEM now is turning to STEAM, and now STEAM is going to turn into STREAM, right? So basically, when you are combining like any of the non-art subjects with art, you are like able to showcase a real world project. It could be coding, their writing, whatever skills that they have, but in a visual representation. It's a fast highlighter in the student's resume. And of course, it is helping the student to stand out as he has done something different in, what I could say that the concept stays the same, but we are showing the context and the content in a different representation way. These are just some of the samplers of our students who are coming from non-art background. So we have an engineering, portfolio where the student wanted to come up with a solution of a bike, which, can be gradually be built up across the age group. So what you can see here is a tricycle, then a bicycle, and then a wheelchair. So what could be, the ergonomics, how the mechanisms will work, so on and so forth. We have done portfolio for students coming from science and from robotics, like also of how the aesthetic sense of a robot has to be there, including the material, the durability, or, what could be the proportion. So, these are just the visual representation of non-art students that we have here, including a student who has been a hip hop dancer, so she literally got a scholarship into a school where, we showcase this hip hop portfolio where she's combining dance, biology, and psychology. It was a unique conversation which she had with her admission officer, so that was the brownie point what she got over there. The regular yeah, I'm sorry. The regular art portfolios can be ranging anything from fashion, interior, product, architecture, from animation and visual communication. Of late, all these conventional art streams have also gone into STEM streams. So it could be fashion technology, fashion branding and marketing, or it could be visual communication, marketing, and branding. I see Jubain is here, right? So, he can resonate, with this entire thing, what I'm talking about. So, this is just a quick 3-minute like activity, which, I would like you all to do. If you can just grab a pen and a paper, next to you, and, we can just do this quick 3-minute like activity here. In the center, maybe, you could just write down your name, and I just need to see this, right? And we can just write that, what am I good at? No problem. Just the 3 things, whatever, I am good at. It could be as simple as, of course, counseling, walking, cooking, exercising, whatever it could be. What do you really enjoy at? Because I may be good, at what I do, but I may not be enjoying it, right? That is what we tell our students like also. And then what is it that I want to learn more? So once we, just write down, call these 3 pointers, we can come up, to the culmination of the icebreaker or the mind map exercise what we have. So yeah. Do you need like anything else for me to explain, or you have understood this like activity? We are fine. Can we just have some thumbs ups? Okay. Okay. Ruben has to raised his hand. Okay. Okay. So that's a thumbs up. Okay. Sure.
If I may, Miss Neha,
Yes. Yes, please. Of course.
I really like the fact that we are kind of breaking the stereotype of how design and portfolios have been looked in the industry, whether it
Yeah.
is Indian universities or international universities. I like the fact that you use the term that we are moving now from STEM to STEAM to STREAM, and that is how
Correct.
liberal arts, hospitality,
Yes.
psychology, sociology are all combining together. And art and
Right.
creativity is just not bounding us to the limitations of sending a portfolio to a university. So I like the
Right.
fact that we have AUB also on the line, and it's a great learning. So I think I'm kind of following up the three things that you told me to write with my name right now, coming from a decade of design experience. So I'm very well excited, and I can understand your narrative here.
Thank you so much. Okay. And I need volunteers. Okay. If you guys don't speak, I'm going to pick my students. So Kanchan and Surbi is paired because we have picked on them. But the next ones, yes, we need more of like an interaction session over here.
So hi, I'll go. I'm Aisha.
Hi,
So
Isha.
I I am joining this session not in a capacity as a counselor, but more as a parent. Okay. And because I don't have experience in terms of counseling for portfolio building, art portfolio building specifically, and my daughter is a design enthusiast. She has started working since last no, now she's in grade 11. She's a humanities student, but she started working on her portfolio since grade 9, and
Mhm.
while building skills, like technical skills of art and all, she was always interested in art and painting, and more of painting than sketching. And we were under this two minds whether to go for fine arts, to go for design, kind of what to do.
Yeah.
um, and so I thought this is very interesting session for me to join, to understand, how she should be. Of course, she wants to study in India only. She's very clear about that. She doesn't want to go abroad as of now. But yes, top Indian universities will also require her to build her portfolio. So
Right.
aspiring for NID as every student is. And being a humanities student, what we were thinking was how, and you rightly pointed, this kind of resonated, and I was, got an idea that, yes, we are thinking on this
On the right track.
correct lines, right? That why not to blend her interest in, she's very good at sociology, she's enjoying the subject, psychology as well. So how should she kind of, blend
Yeah.
her interest and reflect that in her portfolio? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So that's a great a question. What we can do is we can take the question answers, I mean, get the closure time right now. We can just continue with the flow, and then you will learn more. So probably you might have have some more questions also.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody would just like to volunteer for this mind mapping thing, anybody? We just need like one volunteer. I wouldn't say guinea pig. I would say one volunteer.
I can go with that. Actually, I was coming to that. I can like kind of
Okay.
hobby.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. So I think I am good at listening. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
And I'm good at writing. I like,
Okay.
I have my own blog also.
Okay.
Things which I feel interest. I enjoy music. I enjoy reading. Um,
Okay.
too much into legal law, John Grisham,
Okay,
my
great.
favorites. More of what I want to learn is,
Sure.
of course, in my career space, whatever topics I'm not, don't have experience on. So I kind of try to attend such sessions to learn more about this. So whenever I get queries in terms of students' requirements, subjects, so that's what I
Hmm.
like to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. And so the final topic. So, I mean, this is just like a regular mind mapping conversations, what we have back end at the studio, right? So it's very, very important, first and foremost, for all of us who are here, is to first like understand the student, right? The student may be very good with some subjects and would be scoring very well. However, what does the student really like enjoy to do? Like I said, these are two different things, right? So this is something what we say, then what does a child do when the child is free? So we generally, like what we say, that make your passion into profession. So basically, if I have to see at mind map, of what we just shared, so it's something that you are more of a liberal arts students because you love to write, you are good at your the reading skills, music and law, right? So if I have to mind map you, the portfolio, what like I can suggest for you would be showing all these like attributes. For example, which books did you read, right? Now we can take up a portfolio for say 3 slides like this, that different genres of books what we have read, and how would you would like say one could be recapitulate the theme, could be changing the book cover, and the third could be how would you change the character or show the character drawing of the book, right? So in this way, you can take 3 slides coming from your interest of just reading. If you are saying you are enthusiastic person who loves music, then we can again split it into Western, Keystone, or I mean, or a classical rock, whatever could be. And then work on a campaign, for a music concert, or say, how can a music concert be helpful in the economy of a particular place? Like say a Coldplay had come to Ahmedabad, right? And to Mumbai, right? The kind of, I mean, the revenue generation that happened in these two places have been phenomenal. So in this way, this is the way we break up our mind mapping like activity with student, and then we continue from there. I mean, this is just the gist of what we do at the studio and how a portfolio has to be mapped, which is a personal narrative of the student. I hope we have understood out till here. I mean, how we, formulate the mind mapping.
Actually, you even answered my question by explaining this to us a great extent, Neha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Should I move to the next slide? I mean, can I just get a thumbs up from a few of you? Okay. Thank you, Sachin. Okay. So the steps which are required, like, we just spoke about this, that we do mind mapping, create a central theme. Then we come with an ideation and the exploration, and how the ideas have taken shape, right? So Maria will, be, touching more on those points, that a university would like to see a variety of mediums being experimented by the student, STEM or non-STEM, but a variety of mediums and materials. And the refining stage comes, where, if you have the time to showcase the portfolio to the university and get a feedback from there. Once you get a feedback, then the digital version happens. So the digital version happens when you take professional photograph of the work done or the 3D modeling. And each university has a different prerequisite for the portfolio. Some may want it as a PDF, somebody may want it to be, say, uploaded on wix.com. Somebody might say, okay, just send us a video or work in progress. So as counselors, how I would say kind of request also that to give us the time of a month after getting the name of the universities, because if you are having 15 universities, we need to make 15 different versions of each university, which is aligning to the pedagogy of that university, right? So it's very, very important to align yourself to what the university wants in terms of the look, feel, vibe, and the content also. Of course, a compilation and the write-up is a must, which is a student voice. And then, like I said, other different versions that you have. What to include in a portfolio, would be something that, primarily this is like about me, the student is like a small preface, the process work, what has been done by the student, the completed work, and of course, what is the rationale behind doing this work. It's very important to give a curatorial rationale about why a certain concept was, then taken forward and completed. One of the most important things what I've learned is that the university does not want to see polished or, wow works. They would want to see the setbacks, the pitfalls and downfalls, where the child has failed, So say if you are doing a ceramic and it has cracked, show that work, it has been cracked and still the student pursued or persevered. So these are the traits what the university would like to see, that, what is the resilience of a student, or, what is, the kind of comeback factor of a student. They just don't want to see the completed work. They want to see the back end work also. So very, very important to have the real you up there, rather than saying that, oh, hey, like I'm a Superman. I can do it all. No, I can't do it all. I failed. I crumbled. I cried. I had my breakdown. However, I still continued. I think that's the personal voice what, I tell my students to share in the portfolio. What not to do would be, to have too much of work. Just go on the selection. Like I said, if some universities would have say only 12, showcase the best work, okay? And a couple of them could be the works which were, done during the process and, may not have had a conclusion also. A lack of structure, is something which is not like appreciated. It should not be fragmented. It should weave a story, like I told you. A write-up is a must. So just uploading photographs is not going to make sense. They want to know why you have done that. And if the child is saying, मैंने ये 5th grade में किया था, 9th grade में किया था, please no, we need an updated work. We cannot go back to primary grades. At the most, from grade 10 or 10 like upwards should be the work. Most of the counselors, they say that, if the student has done art in school, can she present the same work in the portfolio? Only 3 to 4 works are like appreciated by universities, which are done by the school. Of course, they need to be cited. This university wants to see that how you are aligned to the course, what you are like applying for. So if the child has done, say, some painting of a flower, but she say applying for product, it's not going to align. So, a couple of works you thrown in there is great, but it should be resonating with the course with the student has applied for. Please check for spell like errors, coming like my last 4-5 days of the like upload only goes to check spell errors, formatting, right? I mean, it's very, very like important to have the presentation done well. And I think now I can, hand over to Maria, and then together we can take up the question like answer round.
Thank you so much, Neha. That was great. I think you covered so much at the beginning of that presentation that I think it really good and really impressive overview of what type of portfolios students need to be looking at. I think it's a little bit of a question of also terminology. Obviously, I'm coming from covering the subject of portfolios from a UK university, specialist in art, design, media, and performance. So my presentation has focused pretty much on what are the areas that students mainly need to focus to develop a portfolio for applying for an art and design or media degree program or a postgraduate program in when they are looking to apply abroad. But I think a lot of the things that you have covered really resonate with the sort of things that we're looking for on the students. When you cover the subject of academic portfolio, which incorporate not just the qualifications of the students, the sort of things that they have achieved, but you also include in that part of the portfolio the sort of interest that they have, the desires that they have to follow a specific career, what they are actually interested to do with their future based on what they really like or what they really enjoy right now. And that is something that we covered. We don't call it an academic portfolio. It's part of the application, but we cover that as part of the personal statement letter that we ask students. So I'm not sure if in India, for India institutions, they may be requesting something like this, and maybe you can pinch in and let me know if that's the case. But in the UK particularly, for any type of institution, but also especially universities as ourselves, we will require as a part of their application that the students present what we call a personal statement letter. Now, that is not, that's a written piece. It's a letter. It can be about 500 words. So we're not expecting them to write a lot in there, but we are expecting them to ensure that they actually cover kind of like a little window to their soul for our academics to be able to understand where are they coming from, what their interest has been so far, what they have done in the past, what are the skills that they feel, a little bit like the exercise that Neha just done with us, to where you write down what do you like, what do you feel that you're good at, and things like that. And that personal statement is the opportunity the students have to open that little window, that little door to who they really are as a person, right? Now, that personal statement will go accompanied by a portfolio of work. Now, that portfolio for art and design and media universities, we wanted to see a little bit more about the artistic skills that the students have. But like Neha said, very rightly so, we're not looking for a polish or finished pieces of work when we are requesting those portfolios. What we're looking at is pretty much understanding what is the creative process that students have, how they develop an idea, from how they are able to develop an idea from the beginning to the end, what sort of research they have gone through as well. So after saying all of that, let me just share my presentation. Hopefully I can share. Oh, I don't know if I got... it's not allowing me to share my presentation on the Zoom. I don't know if maybe I need
I think the host
authorization.
has to just share the rights with you.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
just try again, please?
Okay, let me just go again. No, it's not letting me say I need an authorization.
I have
Let me-
given the access.
Oh, now it just worked. Okay, perfect. Let me see if hopefully you are able to see that now. Let me just put it in the
Yes,
view
it's
mode.
visible.
So yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so hopefully you can see that now. So what I'm going to focus is on giving you some tips on, what really are the sort of things that we are looking on a portfolio. I think Neha already covered a little bit of this. What is actually a creative portfolio when students are looking to apply for art or design courses? So we're looking for a collection of arts. We're looking for a collection of their design work, the sort of things that they have created that are able to showcase some of their ideas, some of their skills, and most important, their creativity, how they are able to to think, how they able to imagine things, how they're able to visually create a piece of work that can express not just an emotion or a feeling, but their own interests, their own desires, their own worries, their own understanding of the world around them. So we wanted to demonstrate some ability on the work, of course. We are looking for particular type of skills, you know, some drawing skills and some things that can tell us how they are able to process all those thoughts and how they are able to express those through different mediums. But we wanted to mainly, as I mentioned before, understand how their brains work, how they are able to have an initial idea, how they are using the observation skills, and how they are able to use research and develop that work into that idea, that piece of idea from the beginning to the end. So we're looking for ideas, we're looking for personality, we're looking for creative ability, artistic range. So we wanted to see different mediums, and we wanted to see if it's a student that is really passionate about becoming part of the creative industry. Is an industry that is very competitive. It needs students that are really, I always say, you know, they really need to have a passion. It's, you know, you will not expect a teacher, a school counselor to be somebody that don't have a passion. So with art and design, it's exactly the same. They have to have a commitment for the subjects they are studying. They have to show that passion for coming into this creative space. So we're looking at how they are also able to experiment, how they're using their curiosity to discover new things, what feeling or what perception they have of the world around them so far. We're talking about very young people here for those that are applying for university. So, but we are also looking at what is the awareness that they currently have of the world around them and how they interpret that into their portfolio. So for higher education or university applications in the UK, the portfolios will depend on the level that they are applying for. So obviously it's not the same a student that is applying for a foundation in art design and media to a student that is applying for an undergraduate program or a postgraduate master program. The levels are very different, and therefore the portfolio requirements will be very different. And I go back to something that Neha mentioned before, which is extremely important, and is the fact that a part of the level of what the students are applying for, they are also applying for a particular institution and a particular course. And it's extremely important that before they start putting together this portfolio for an application for university, I'm focusing in here on that particular area, okay? That they understand what are the portfolio guidelines or requirements for those courses and for those universities. Let's say that you have a student that is looking to apply for, you know, very, very generic program graphic design, for example. It may be applying for a university in India, still to be decided whether they wanted to stay there, whether they wanted to go abroad. They may be applying for 4 or 5 different universities, maybe a couple of them in India, maybe a few in the UK, maybe a few in the States or in Australia, who knows? Applying for different universities for the same course, graphic design, as an undergraduate program. Something to understand, students need to understand, and they do a lot of that work from my experience with art teachers in their high schools and also with school counselors like a lot of yourselves in here today. They need to understand that that graphic design course is going to be very different in every university and in every country. They need to understand that that is the appropriate course for them, that is offering what really they're looking for. What are the expectations to as a career progression after that? They want to become freelancers. They wanted to work for a global company. They wanted to have a focus specifically on an area of graphic design, what it is, and trying to identify that the course is actually offering that to give them the skills and the tools that they're going to need to jump into that career progression afterwards. But it's also very important that they understand what are the requirements of that portfolio for that particular university. I guarantee you, if you go through 3 different universities of your choice and you pick up the portfolio guidelines for the same course, graphic design, film, fine arts, photography, whatever you wanted to pick as a subject, they will all have different type of portfolio guidelines. So it's very important that they understand that, because I have seen and come across a lot of students and a lot of school counselors when students have prepared one portfolio and that portfolio is being used to apply for so many universities. And I will not recommend to do that. They need to be able to adapt their portfolio and perhaps have different versions of their portfolio for every university they are looking to apply. So what I'm going to do today, that's my top tip for students. Be sure you know the university you're applying the course and you understand the portfolio guidelines. So you work your portfolio around that for that particular university. But moving forward, I'm going to be covering, there are, of course, some general guidelines that all of us, art, design, media institutions, we will want to see in a portfolio. So I'm going to be touching through my presentation 5 top tips about what are extremely important that they incorporate on their portfolio, regardless of what university or what course they are applying for. So we're starting with digital portfolios. This is a question that I always get asked by a lot of school counselors. So I introduced it at the beginning of the presentation about nowadays, all of the students, obviously, when they are coming from abroad, they will apply digitally to us. So one of the questions is like, what type of, platforms should students use for the digital portfolios? Well, there are thousands of them. A student may have, their portfolio may be their own website. Nowadays, they may be their YouTube channel, they may be the Instagram page. I have seen students applying with their Instagram, or their YouTube or their website as a portfolio. So it's not so much what platform they can use. Some may use just a simple PDF. Some of them may use Dropbox to transfer a PDF or a PowerPoint or an animation video. The most important thing on whatever platform you're going to use digitally to submit your digital portfolio or to work on your digital portfolio, and a big recommendation from me is that you do get students to do not put a lot of security into access that. So I have seen cases where maybe a PDF of a portfolio has been sent that has security, password request in order to be able to access it. You don't want it to do that. Your portfolio need to be something very easy to access digitally, because it is going through different hands through their application process. So the portfolio is going to be seen by the admissions team, which are the ones usually looking at entry requirements, that the students' qualifications, their personal statement letters, and then looking at the portfolios before they pass those ones into the academic teams, which are going to be the course leaders, the directors of faculty, who are going to be looking at that portfolio of art to make a final decision on whether they are offering a place to that student or not. So it's extremely important that there is no complications to access that portfolio. It needs to be a digital, simple link that anybody can click and can open. Another thing to know nowadays with regards to portfolios is that not always all of the art and design media programs nowadays, they may require portfolios. Actually, there are a lot of them that they not require portfolios. There is a lot of different programs coming in. We are facing a huge change on the industry right now. There is a lot of things coming up every day. Courses are changing on the daily basis and on the year basis. So it is important to also understand that sometimes some of the courses they may apply, they may not be requesting a portfolio. And you will say, well, if they are applying for an art and design, for example, specialist universities, but they don't require a portfolio, how they showcase their skills. Sometimes for a program like creative writing, for example, the personal statement letter will be something that it will be to consider highly for getting an offer or not on the place. So that's something also to consider. Focusing on the top tips, the number one, and Neha mentioned this, and I would like to emphasize on it, is that any type of portfolio, any level, any course, they need to see a good range of mediums. So they need to see that the student has some abilities already to work with different type of mediums, whether it's drawing, painting, illustration. Of course, we want the portfolio to be focused on the specific subject that a student is applying for. So the student is applying for fashion design, we will expect him to see something within that area. But that doesn't mean that the student should not incorporate drawings, paintings, maybe videos, textiles, maybe sculpture, maybe some jewelry, maybe ceramic, maybe visual communication projects they done in high school. As long as they are useful in that portfolio to showcase certain abilities, skills, or ideas that they have developed, as we say at the very beginning. It's extremely important in portfolios that they include drawing. Obviously, I'm talking from the point of view of a specialist university in the United Kingdom here. We are one of the only 15 specialist universities in the UK. So we very much focus on developing the skills of our students. So once they graduate, they are ready to go into the creative industries. We have a high percentage of employability after graduation with us. And the reason for it is because we're looking for a particular type of a student. We're looking for makers for the industry. So we need to see on their portfolios drawings, no matter whether they are applying for graphic design or fine art or makeup or fashion. Drawing is something that they need to be able to do, and they need to be able to express themselves. And they can be through different mediums in drawing and different types. It doesn't necessarily have to be one particular, can be drawings from observation, it can be drawings from live observation. I got a video in here, but I think we are running out of time, and I believe that probably they will share the presentations with you later. So I will leave the video for now. It's a very short one, but leave the video for now so you can watch it on your own time. It's just a video of some students talking about the importance of drawing and why it was super important for them to incorporate that on their portfolios. It's also very important to understand on the part of the drawing or part of the mediums, the different mediums they work with and they present, that they also are able to present whatever work, whether it's a 3D, whether it's a big piece, whether it's a small one, and that they are able to present clear photos of that on their portfolio, that they're checking details on it, that they are looking after the details on their portfolio. Silly things like the background, the lighting, the image quality, the scale of that representation, if it's a sculpture or if it's a miniature, sometimes they need to use something to showcase that scale of that big piece of work or small piece of work. And look after the presentation is extremely important. I have seen portfolios where you have this amazing mannequin with a piece of garment, absolutely amazing and stunning, completed by the student, which showcase so many, and then not care at all about the background where that photograph of that beautiful garment was taken off. So you could see a lot of noise in the background because they haven't looked after that sort of presentation, and that is going to have a detriment on the way that that sort of piece of work is coming. So very important that in there I have incorporated some feedback from some of our own students about the importance of incorporate different mediums. So I let you read those once again on your own time. This one is a very particular one for a portfolio in student in photography. So it's really good to just get an idea on what students also say about when they were preparing their portfolios. Second tip on the portfolio is very important that they show us the process. So we don't want it to see just final pieces of work. we actually wanted to see their creative thinking process, how they are able to develop an idea from the beginning to the end. So the portfolio doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, one of the questions that I get very often from students is, oh, should I incorporate some of my sketchbooks in the portfolio? It's just because they're very messy and they're not very clean and maybe they're not looking. Yes, you have to incorporate the sketchbook. Sketchbook is the essence of how you develop ideas, how you do research, how you observe, how you develop the idea. So it's very important that they present that in their portfolio. But there are different ways to present that. It doesn't need to necessarily use one page of each portfolio to just showcase one page of the sketchbooks. They can take a lot of pictures of the sketchbooks and maybe do a page of their portfolio with a series of pictures of their sketchbooks that talk about that process, for example. So there is always a very good ways to present it. It's important that they show us how they are able to make decisions and solve problems. Again, we're going back to what Neha was saying at the very beginning. It's about those soft skills that we can read in between the lines with the work that they presented on how they are able to think, how they came up across, if they wanted to develop a piece of work and they came up with a series of problems of how to do that, how do they solve those problems? So we don't want it to see just a final beautiful piece of work. We wanted to see the hard work behind it. We wanted to see the drawings, the sketches, the ideas they have, the problems they came across, and how do they solve. And we wanted to see that mess taking shape and showcase into their portfolios as well. It is very important. I always say to a student, it's a little bit when you get a book, right? And you get super excited about a new book that you're going to read, and you open that first page of the book, and the first page is and then you're thinking, should I carry on? Should I know? It's most of the time, if that first second page is not that good, what do you do with the book? Sometimes you close it, you never open it again, and you go into the next book that somebody recommend to you, right? So with the portfolio, it's pretty much the same. Like in every good story, in every good novel, in every good book, you have to have a really strong start. They need to catch the attention of whoever is looking at straight away. You need to have show the process, and maybe pieces of work and different processes need to be a good middle bit, so you keep the attention of the reader, the attention of the person looking at your portfolio going. And then again, going into more details. And then you need to have an amazing end, so they will remember your portfolio, and they will you will finish with a really good experience of that portfolio. So beginning, middle, and end, very important to incorporate strong pieces of work, strong pieces of that. And it's also important that they mix up, so that not all of the work that they will showcase on their portfolio is the recent work. We also wanted to see some unfinished work that they never finish and the reasons why. And writing notes on the portfolio is really good. So ensure that they write notes. So if they put a piece of unfinished work, why they have selected that to showcase, and why they struggle, and what did they come up with, and maybe they use the idea of that project to ending up doing a different project. So any written information that can support their work that they present in their portfolio is always good. So sketchbooks, very important, but also there are different ways to present sketchbooks. Written explanation. I got this question, a lot of students say, well, should I write it? Should it be handwriting? Because obviously now it's all digital portfolios nowadays. So sometimes the handwriting get lost and it's all more digital. Well, some students still use the handwriting portfolios, taking pictures of it and then use it in the digital portfolio. That gives a lot of the personality and the involvement and the closeness to their work as well. So it's quite good. I'm just going to run through quickly. I'm conscious of time. So I put in there different examples for you to share with the students if you want. Research is very important in the portfolios. We need to see that they are able to reflect on the course, themes, techniques that are able to see, to showcase some exploration, some research that they done. So very important that they actually do that. Some students also ask me very often, well, I go, you know, so especially with artists, designers, they maybe have a designer that is their inspiration, you know, the person that they look up, they love their work, and sometimes they may have work that they don't base or inspire on those artists, and they say, well, if I use that, will they think I'm copying or I'm it's actually not. It's really good that they showcase their passion and their interest and the type of artists that inspire them and why their work may be inspired by those artists. So we wanted to see, again, going back to the interest they got in art and design in general, and that inspiration may come from somebody from the subject they wanted to take, maybe a film director, or it may come from a photographer or from a different artist that inspired their work in another area. So very important that they got references. I put in there a little bit more information on a different type of research that they can incorporate into their materials. And the tip number 4 will be the size, how big the portfolio need to be. In general, obviously, this is for an application for university. As you guys know, there are thousands of applicants every year for every course. So academics have very limited time to be looking at portfolios. They cannot look at extended pieces of portfolios, and this is why there is some limitations on the size of the portfolio and also on the size of the wording we're expecting to read for personal statement letters. You know, I always say to students, trying to keep it to the most important and relevant things really that you wanted to transfer. So usually for a portfolio, we're looking at 15 to 20 pieces. That's usually 15 to 20 pages of a portfolio, digital portfolio. Sometimes it can be less than that. I have seen portfolios with just 10 pages, 8 pages. So it depends how they present that portfolio. It's important that they think about that presentation, the mediums that they're using, and if really the work that they're using is speaking for himself. And if no, use that written pieces. Just they need to be sure that they edit as much as possible following the portfolio guidelines that that particular course or university has. So the layout is very important as well. The clarity is also very important when they're looking at portfolios because it allows the academics to go quite quickly with it. And the tip number 5 for any portfolio, they need to show personality. So yes, they can obviously, you know, showcase maybe work of other artists as well that they've been inspired by, but we also wanted to see who they are on their portfolio. It is extremely important that they show their potential, their passion, their motivation, what they like, what they don't like, and why they are really committed to art and design. So it's very important that whatever artistic styles they use, it really talk about them as a person and it showcase really their personality. So it's very important that they need to inspire through that portfolio, not just copy, of course. And again, I finish in there because the rest, you got some videos and you got some, but that will be my 5 top tips for any sort of portfolio. Use a range of medias, show us really your processes, reference your course and, you know, use your research for it. Edit as much as possible to follow those guidelines that you go for any university that you're applying for, and definitely show us who you are. That's what we wanted to see at the end of the day. And then I put in there just for your own some extra resources where you can find out more detailed information about those portfolio guidelines, particularly for our university. But as I say, it's good that you check any other ones. We also have videos in our website where our course leaders actually talk about the sort of things they're looking to see in particular portfolios for film, for dance, for whatever course we got. And I also add added some other guides outside of the AUB website that could help you as well as school counselors if you want to refer students. You know, a student art guide is a very good one where it showcase a lot of the stuff on portfolios. Art Proof is another one that cover a lot of things related to sketchbooks and things like that as well. So I think I'm going to stop sharing now. And there are probably a lot of questions. Sorry, I cannot see the questions on the screen when I'm sharing at the same time. So apologize if there have been questions coming.
Would you want to hear the student voice? I mean, the journey of a student, then we can ask Dehana, just to share, like a short experience of hers, and then we can go for the question answer round.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great. So we have Dehana Prabhu here. She's been my student for the last 3 years. She's been my IBDP student, and she made a portfolio with me. She's one of my star students, and I'm proud to also share that she's been my intern since the last 1 month now. And Dhyana is here at the studio, and we can hear from a student's voice, because what I feel that we as counselors, or as mentors, we have our own point of view, but what actually does a student go through, we should be understanding from their point of view also. So yes, Dhyana, if you can share something on your experience.
Yeah. Hi. So my name is Dihana. I graduated in the class of 2025. For my 11th and 12th grade, I did the IB diploma program, and I took visual arts at a higher level. While I did take visual arts at a high level, I also was working on my university portfolio with the help of the WeLearn team, because when I started my IB journey, the program or the course that I was planning to pursue was Bachelor's of Fine Arts. But eventually I kind of shifted towards more of the creative business side, and which is how I landed on marketing. So at first it was a little overwhelming trying to manage two different types of portfolios and my academic studies, because IB is a very rigorous program. But with a proper plan and with proper planning, it became manageable for me. What helped me most throughout my IB journey was learning to prioritize my tasks based on deadlines and the importance of the task itself. And another thing that helped me a lot was that I would work on my IB art portfolio during my school hours. So trying to go to the art room any during any free time that I got, and I used the studio time that I spent at WeLearn to build my university portfolio. And another tip for students who are in IB and visual arts, who have taken visual arts, is that it is important to take regular breaks to avoid burnout. Some of the things that helped me a lot was exercising or catching up with my friends. And these moments were essential in keeping me motivated and consistent with my work, so that I don't fall behind on my deadlines. And I started my portfolio journey in the start of 11th grade, but I've been an art student for many years before that. And ideally, a student should start their portfolio right after grade 10 ends, because most college applications open in September of your grade 12. But portfolios, and that's when the portfolio submissions happen. So, which is why it is important that the student should get at least 1 year, 1.5 year of time prior to the submission, so that they can refine, review, and submit their best work. So starting early ensures that the student is not rushed, and it also gives you room to explore, especially if you are not sure about which course you want to pursue and you still want to explore the different areas of art or even STEM and other interdisciplinaries. I think
Yeah, if there are some
that's,
question answers.
yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Okay, you can move there. Hello? Yes, Kanchan.
Yeah, my question is for Maria and you, Neha.
Sure.
Looking at the AI making so much impact right now, right? So,
Yeah.
how do you see AI being integrated, and what kind of evaluation would be there for ensuring that the work is original and it is not just AI, you know? So,
Okay.
how do you ensure that the students
Yeah.
are being tech upgraded yet still ensuring that their creativity comes and shines through?
Correct. So I share from my mentor point of view, right? And then Maria can answer, from the admission officer point of view. So,
Yes.
like, of course, is the most simplest and the fastest go-to, right, for our students now. And of course, we are not abhorring the fact that we have to live with the AI, but how I would try convincing my kids is that first of all you should know which prompts to give for your AI platforms. Now it's very important to know which prompts to give. That means you should know fundamentals and basic of art. It's like if you have not understood of how to do it practically yourself, you will not be able to ask the right questions to the software also, right? It's just simple that if I know how to cook, I'm going to tell my cook at home that bhai thoda mirchi zyada, thoda to mirchi kam, whatever it is, right? So till you have not done it yourself, you are not in a position to draw a command over can AI tool also to give the best like output. Of course, coming from an international student, coming from ASA to can IB, they are very much like ingrained with the concept of malpractice and plagiarism, right? So when we say that we are taking something from a primary source, that means the student has clicked or drawn by himself, and a secondary source could be from a website or from a reference where it needs to be cited. So it's very, very important for the student or the mentor, the counselor, to inculcate that mindset that it's very it's well then it's basic principles and it's basic work ethics to cite the work of another person. And even if you have done some like assistance from the AI to generate your work, please mention that. It's fine, okay? Because the universities are also asking or are also looking for students who are tech savvy, right? But it's very important to cite of what is the work that is done by the software. I would now, yeah, Maria can continue from the other side of the desk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I share all the thoughts there, Neha. Absolutely. I think a little bit like I was saying, when they feel inspired by an artist, and they have a work that could be considered, are they copying or are they, they need to use references. It's like writers, when you write and you using or mentioning the work of somebody else, you have to refer. And with AI, it's exactly the same. We know when a work is being done by AI. We do know. We do know if a personal statement letter is being written by AI or no. We do know. So it's much better that they are clear about I have used it, and at least you come across as somebody that know how to use those tools. Now, personally answering your question about AI and how I see myself that this is going, I think we are on the very early stages of AI development. And I think at the moment, AI pretty much is a tool that we are using prompts to allocate it at work, and then they do the work for us, right? I think the scale of how much this is going to evolve and develop and the time frame on how quickly that's going to happen, we're not even conscious of it yet. I think it's going to be happening very quick, very fast, and it's going to evolve very, very quickly as well. What I do know is that the creative industries are changing into a speed that is absolutely stunning. I also know that even higher education institutions, universities, are in a need of keeping up with those changes, to the point that right now there are even courses changing on the year basis. Before, you have a curriculum written for several years, you do some adaptations of it, you do some changes, but right now we are even seeing full courses being rewritten, changed totally from the beginning to an end every single year for not for a few years now. So the speed of things is taking it's going very, very quickly. So, and I think it's definitely going to continue. The reasons why I see that creative skills, problem-solving skills, and human skills are more important now than ever. And that's why it's super important that students continue through a learning process, through higher education, is the fact that machines are always going to be able, as a tool, to perhaps do the jobs even better than we do. But at the moment, they are not able to generate ideas. Ideas are only coming from the human brain. Creativity is only coming from the human brain. At the moment, AI is learning patterns that are already written, ideas that are already out there in the internet, and things and concepts that are already there, and figure it out how to use that much better, quick, faster than us, for sure, because they are machines at the end of the day. But we are still going to need that human interaction and that human development of ideas. So I think as long as students understand that AI is a tool for them to use, for them to learn how to use, to make their lives better, their work better, and their work faster as well, it's a good thing. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form, and I hope I'm right, they can take over that side of creativity. And those soft skills we were talking throughout this presentation a lot, Neha has talked about them, I talk about them. Those soft skills are especially nourished and taking into so much importance, especially with programs related to art, design, media, performance. Those sort of skills are extremely relevant as a creative student. And this is one of the reasons why, I'm going back to the beginning of the presentation, and then I shut up then. Neha was talking about the academic portfolios. Why we are now so much into, for the last few years, even before the pandemic, people talking about creative skills and how important they are. Why they are so important in STEAMs now? Why is it so important to be able to solve problems and have that think outside the box, that creativity thinking? Why is that across any subject, not just creative subjects? It's especially for that, because we are going to see a change on the industry in general, where AI is going to take over in so many aspects. So we are needing people that are going to be able to think outside the box, learn those tools and work with those tools, but I still have a brain on their shoulders and skills that they have learned through their higher education, through their learning journey, to actually use those tools with in the right way, because there is a lot of to do with AI as well, with regards to not just copyright, but also with really the use of it and how appropriate it can be sometimes and not. So there is a lot of policies behind that as well, that we need people that are really clear about the work that AI can do and how we can interact with it.
Thank you.
Great. Can we have the next question? None? Or we want to think about it? Okay. So shall we call it a day, or would you just want to think and just wait till you come up with some more questions? No problem, Juben. We are going to meet in person. Okay, so
We
I
all
guess,
want to meet in person, don't we?
of
I'm
course,
super excited to meet you, Maria. You know, your presentation was very, very in-depth of exactly what international universities are looking for. You know, it's just not about creativity. It's just not about the inspiration, but what is the medium of getting your inspiration to putting it down and, penning it down to the other person to know why
without
you're
any.
so passionate, why you want to come there. So I think that's very creative. I'm looking forward to see yours and Neha's presentation and excited to meet you all equally.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much, Ven. Yeah, really looking forward to visit and to see you all when I'm there. So I will most definitely let you know. We have exchanged all contact details in here. So I will most definitely let you know when I'm coming. I'm looking forward to meet every single one of you and visit your institutions and your places there. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. For all the attendings who are here. Thank you, Maria, for having this jamming session that we did.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I learned, like for me, it was like going back 10 years, like, when I come to your campus and, the kind of fun what I had over there with you and the team. So yes, it's good to refresh. And yeah, thank you so
Must
much,
come
all of
back
you.
again, Neha. You must come back. And that's an open invitation to all of
Okay.
you. If any of you are ever in the UK for family reason, friends reason, holiday reason, whatever it is that you are in the UK next time, please open invitation to any of you
Yeah.
anytime to visit the Arts
I'll take you
University
up on
Bournemouth.
that next year. I'm planning to be
Absolutely.
there
Just
in
you got my
2020.
number. Absolutely. Anytime. We got an
Yeah.
open campus policy for people. We do a lot of exhibition, as you can imagine. So a lot of people from industry come over. We got artists, we got a gallery in the campus. So it's a very much open, welcome campus. But please, you got my number, all of you. So let me know next time you are in the UK. I will be delighted to welcome you to AUB, to show you around, to introduce you to the team there, and for you to discover a bit of AUB and Bournemouth.
When Maria is coming to Mumbai, she's coming to VLearn Studio.
I'm coming first. I'm coming first. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a one-stop shop here at the VLearn Studio. बाद में we'll go to UK. Okay. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yeah. So good evening, all of you, and a good night too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for
Thank
such an
you.
insightful session. Thank you.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
everybody.
Our
Good
pleasure.
evening, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.